The economic hardship caused by the pandemic this year brought new attention to the city's affordable housing crisis. But the COVID crisis also saw many wealthier New Yorkers leave the city, which has caused a sharp decline in rents. New York One's Michael Herzenberg takes a look back at the year in housing and real estate. Governor Cuomo says the Buffalo Bills are going to be allowed to have more than 6,700 fans attend their home playoff games, but that's less than 10% capacity. All fans attending need to register a negative COVID test before they can enter the stadium. They are also going to be required to wear masks and remain socially distant, or they will be ejected. Tailgating will not be allowed. The team will work with the state health department to conduct contact tracing after the game. This kind of testing hasn't been done anywhere else in the country before, and Cuomo says he hopes it can lead the way towards future mass gatherings.
We think it can be very instructive to us going forward because, as I said, the premise is we're going to have to find a way to reopen businesses smartly and safely.
We are so hopeful that there would be many more games that all fans can attend. And for us to do that, as you mentioned, Governor, we all need to be safe starting today, even beyond the game.
The Bills have already clinched the AFC East title, which guarantees them at least one home playoff game. The first game is going to be played either January 9th or 10th. The Bills have not hosted a playoff game since 1996. With more people now facing hunger because of the pandemic, one Manhattan man has decided to use his expertise in dance and fitness to help those in need. As New York One's Justine Ray tells us, he's raised more than $1 million so far, and he's not stopping anytime soon. I'm Angie Gonzalez with the New York 1 Minute. The countdown to 2021 is on, but we're used to seeing Times Square packed with revelers, but the NYPD is asking crowds to stay away this year. New York 1 is going to bring you the ball drop live tonight. Minneapolis police shoot and kill a man less than a mile from the street corner where George Floyd was killed by officers back in May. It's the city's first fatal police shooting in that city since Floyd's death. Meanwhile, the city law department releases a report on the NYPD's response to this summer's racial justice protests following Floyd's death. The report found gaps in the department's planning and engagement with the community, as well as a lack of training. The family of a black teenager assaulted after being falsely accused of stealing an iPhone at a Soho hotel speaks out, looking to press charges against the woman responsible. And the Nets beat the Hawks, scoring the second most points in regulation in the team's history. A lot of business owners in Times Square usually rely on New Year's Eve festivities and the extra holiday tourists to boost their bottom line. But that is not the case this year because of the pandemic, which has forced the celebration to go virtual. New York One's Alyssa Palicelli has the story from Midtown. Nearly 60 years after the original Penn Station was torn down, the Moynihan Train Hall is almost ready to take its place. The project to turn the Farley Post Office on 8th Avenue into a new transit hub has been in the works for decades, and now it's finally set to welcome commuters tomorrow. New York One's transit reporter Dan Rivoli got a sneak peek at the new hall during an event with Governor Cuomo. Actress Dawn Wells has died from complications related to COVID-19. Now, that's Wells on the far right in this photo. She rose to fame playing the wholesome Mary Ann on the cast full of shipwrecked castaways on the 1960 sitcom Gilligan's Island. Born in Reno, Nevada, Wells represented her state in the 1959 Miss America pageant and quickly pivoted to an acting career. She beat out 350 other actresses to land the role of Mary Ann. Wells was 82 years old. New surveillance video clearly shows a black teenager being attacked by a woman who falsely accused him of stealing her phone at a hotel in Soho over the weekend. The video released by police shows 14-year-old Keon Harold Jr. being pushed and grabbed by the woman inside the Arlo Hotel on Sunday. Now, a lawyer for the family says that they've met with the Manhattan District Attorney seeking to press charges against both the hotel and the woman.
equal justice under the law for all American citizens, so our children will know that it is unacceptable to racially profile them. And if you do it, that there are going to be consequences.
No 14-year-old boy should be scared and threatened.
That's right.
They shouldn't have to feel scared or feel like they're threatening anybody. I don't care the color of your skin.
Mayor de Blasio has called the incident a clear example of racism. The hotel issued a statement saying despite the on-duty manager calling the police and hotel security intervening, that more could have been done to de-escalate the dispute. They say no one should be subject to this kind of behavior and apologize to the Heralds for this, quote, inexcusable experience. The Nets win a wild, high-scoring game over the Hawks at Barclays Center. After going back and forth the whole game, Brooklyn took control late in the fourth quarter. Kyrie Irving scored 17 of his 25 points in the fourth quarter, and Kevin Durant led all scorers with 31. In all, 7 Nets scored in double figures, including 4 reserves. The final was 145-141. That's the second most points the Nets have ever scored in regulation. The Nets are 3-2 this season. These two teams are going to face off again in Brooklyn tomorrow. The Knicks, meanwhile, play the Raptors tonight in Tampa Bay. 3 people are injured in a fire at a NYCHA apartment building in Queens. The FDNY says that the fire started just before noon Wednesday on the top floor of a 13-story building on 170th Street in Jamaica. It took firefighters roughly a half hour to get the flames under control. 2 people were taken to the hospital while a third refused medical treatment. Twitter shows a group of cyclists harassing a driver in the middle of the street in Manhattan. Now, this video was taken Tuesday afternoon at 5th Avenue and 21st Street in Flatiron. The driver of the car told police he had stopped at an intersection as a group of cyclists passed when one of them hit his vehicle. Now, you can see the group jumping and throwing their bikes on the hood. The cyclists left the scene before police arrived. There have been no arrests. A man is hospitalized with COVID-19 after attending an indoor Christmas party in Queens held by the Whitestone Republican Club. As first reported by our partner news organization, the Queens Daily Eagle, James Trent, the chair of the affiliated Queens Village Republican Club, first began experiencing symptoms 2 days after attending the party on December 9th. Video of the party shows about 50 people inside the venue, many taking part in a conga line. Both Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio criticized the party. The mayor said that the city would investigate and potentially issue fines to the restaurant involved and the club. Another attendee and his wife also tested positive for the virus after the event. The NYPD is urging people to ring in the new year at home and stay away from Times Square with no spectators allowed at the ball drop. The police department is reducing its staffing levels from previous years by 80%, but heavy weapons teams are going to be patrolling the subways and counterterrorism squads are going to be on the streets. Now, this was the scene in Times Square last year as we went into 2020. This year, only the performers and hosts from top television stations are going to be allowed in the performance arena. They're going to be tested for COVID beforehand. Concrete barriers are going to be put up to keep people away.
The NYPD takes great pride in protecting Times Square on New Year's Eve and normally welcome hundreds of thousands of people. We don't like an empty Times Square either, but this year has been nothing short of unprecedented. So we're asking for everyone's help this year. Stay at home with your family. Let's put 2020 in the rearview mirror and welcome 2021 with the hope that we can soon start celebrating together in a COVID-free New York City. And let's all look forward to a tremendous Times Square.
Street closures still go into effect. That happens this morning. There are going to be no public fireworks in Coney Island or a midnight run in Central Park Thursday night. The latest coronavirus numbers in the city continue to climb. There were 242 new hospitalizations Tuesday and more than 3,200 new cases. The 7-day average positivity rate is 7.93%. Statewide, 8.66% of coronavirus tests came back positive yesterday. The governor pointed to Staten Island as an area of concern, which has a 6.57 positivity rate compared to Manhattan, which stands at just 3.05%. Nearly 7,900 people are hospitalized across the state, and 144 New Yorkers died yesterday. You can go to nyc.gov/COVID test to find a testing site near you. An Upper West Side dog is now reunited with his owner after being missing for several days. Luca the dachshund was tied up outside of a grocery store on Sunday while his 74-year-old owner shopped inside when he disappeared. The dog had been missing until last night when officers from the 24th Police Precinct shared this photo. The surveillance video shows a man scooping up Luca and walking away. Police did not say if that man had been identified or if any charges are pending.